Chris, a 1-1 draw for Whitby Town this afternoon against Rushall Olympic. A lot of people saying it's a fair result. How do you assess it?
Yeah, I don't think that's a million miles off the mark. I think first 45, Rushall edged it. They had a lot of set plays in and around. Seemed to be dominant in our defensive area. And then second 45, I think we've come into it and maybe edged the second 45. So possibly a game of two halves. A decent point, one that I don't think we should knock, in the respect that, like you say, they are promotion rivals, so to speak. Who would have thought we'd be saying that, but that's most definitely the case. There wasn't an awful lot of difference between the two sides. Maybe either side just looking for a little bit of luck today or a little bit of quality. We've managed to break the deadlock. They've replied with I think a bit of a soft goal, really, cheap cross, free header at the back post. So like you say, on the whole, a fair result, but a decent point.
Across the opening 45 minutes, Chris, one man for Rushall was causing a lot of problems, George Bowerman. How do you think that Whitby dealt with his threat?
I mean, like you say, they had some decent players in key areas. We were asked questions in the first 45. I think the second 45 we asked a few more questions of them. So, we expect decent players at this level. We expect players to influence the game, and the kid you mentioned there certainly did.
Yeah, the second 45 minutes, Chris, obviously Whitby taking the lead. It was a fairly slow start to the second half of both sides, and I think the game sort of needed that goal from Dale Hobson to liven it up. Yeah,
100%. Like you say, the goal gave us something to hold on to. It gave us something to build on. I think the type of game that it was, we probably needed more than one goal, as it proved to be. But like you say, it gave us a bit of daylight, but not enough to see the result home.
Yeah, the equaliser as well. It was another ball into the box, something that we saw Tuesday night against Spennymoor, and something that we've seen against Stourbridge and in past games. That's something that we really need to work on at the moment.
It does suggest so. The goal Tuesday night, I thought, was a very well delivered, set play. The kid Curtis is 6'5", jumping at the ball in stride, difficult to defend against. I wouldn't hold that against anybody, but today was different. We're talking about being allowed to cross the ball from open play, and then a free header in the 6-yard box. Like you say, both aspects, not really acceptable.
Lee Bullock came back into the back four. His first appearance since January. Chris, how did you rate his performance?
I've given him man of the match there. I just thought he was, for the time he's had away, last time he played I believe was York, he was very assured in what he did. So, fair play. And disappointing that the boys, at the back there, plus Shane, haven't got a clean sheet to show for it.
Yeah. Stephen Snaith got a booking this afternoon. How's he looking in terms of yellow cards at the moment?
Well, that's him with his quarter. Yeah. So we're expecting a 2-game ban for Steve.
Yeah. Okay, and then just moving on, we'll move on to the Hills Owen game quickly before talking about other things. Obviously we know what Hills Owen are about. Last time they disappointed us at their place. How do you go into this game?
Well, I think one thing we do is we don't perform like we did at Hills Owen, because on the day we were poor. There's a bit of disappointment in the changing room after today's game, and I think that's a good thing. We're playing against promotion rivals. The boys are disappointed they haven't took all 3 points, but as we've said, it's a decent point. If we can win on Tuesday, that's 4 points from the 2 games there, which will set us up nicely, in terms of amounting this points tally that's needed.
And will Luke Bythway be available for that one?
Luke will be available. Luke will come back into the squad on Tuesday.
Excellent. And another thing, Chris, obviously the deadline approaching for transfers. Is there any movement, do you think, on incoming or outgoing?
Yeah, there'll be a few dual registration players coming in to make the numbers up, to make sure that we've got the right amount of numbers for the squad going into this run-in. And there's a couple of players that we're speaking to, but there's nothing concrete.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much, Chris.
Cheers.